Cherry is one of my favourite pieces of wood to turn. It's not hard, it's not soft, it's in the medium range of density, but it does have some very nice grain, and when you turn it on to make a bowl or some whatever project you're, it can be very, very revealing. So this is a 10 inch by 10 inch piece that was cut off a very large cherry slab that I bought from a supplier in the locale, and I think it was probably, from memory, about 6 foot by 15 inches wide, and I got maybe, I think, 6 to 7 pieces like this out of that slab. So the actual all-up cost of the slab was around $80. If I got 6 pieces out of that, you know, do the math, it's pretty well cheap in terms of each block. It's 3 inches thick, so you can get a decent bowl out of this, and you know, when I sell it, it sells for a nice little profit if it comes out with some nice looking grain. Anyway, let's not chat on for me. Let's get it mounted on the lathe. I'm going to go centres first to get the usual foot in place, and we'll go from there and see how it all works out. Follow me. Now, before mounting on this lathe, I'm going to get this a little more round on the bandsaw. So I'm using this Perspex circular jig just to see where the centre is, and I'll use the round ripper to take this in a circle cut on the bandsaw. Now, some of my subscribers have asked where I get the round ripper from. It's stockroomsupply.com. They invented this and also manufacture and sell. So it's a small business there. And just to give you an idea how it all works, this is the first part. There's 2 parts to it, and both of them fit to the bandsaw. So this is the slide. Part 2 of the whole thing is the actual piece that holds the wood in place. And the idea here is this is brought up, and it'll go all the way up to the top so that you can fit your source wood at the bottom. Now I'm drilling a 1/4 inch hole in the centre of the stock wood. Don't go down too deep. About 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch is sufficient. Now if you look at the centre axle or spindle, you'll see right at the foot there's a spike, and then of course there's a screw that fits into the top of the wood piece. So the idea here is that you would move your piece of wood that you want to cut out around, like this one here, and this is quite a good one to use because it's already at a particular size. You ram home the screw, turn it into the wood, that 3/4 inch hole that's been bored. Now the bottom of the piece of wood has the spike, so that the whole thing is now, so this thing can actually spin around on its axis, as you see. Okay, so the source wood is now completely suspended above the base of the round ripper, and it's pivoting around that axle, as you can see. Now this can turn freely with your hands, or you can turn the knob at the top, whichever way you desire to cut it onto the bandsaw. So this is the slide now fitted to the bandsaw's table. You can see it moves that way, and there's a underneath a lock to lock into place once you've got it where you want it to be. Now what's left to do is to mount the round ripper on the slide so it moves forwards and backwards, and of course can spin around on its axis. The trick here is to now manipulate the slide so it can move this way and that way, to move in front of the bandsaw blade so it lines up with the starting position for cutting the circle. Now the blade is cutting dead centre of the blank, And all I need to do now is to just turn the piece of wood around. I'll get a bit closer here for you. We've got the piece now mounted between centres, and I'm going to start turning the foot. You can see here where the blank has got a very large piece towards where the sapwood is. Sapwood actually probably reaches out to where the actual foot is going to be. So I'm pretty well dictated for this type of shape to get rid of this. So going to create the foot first, around about 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch deep, and get the round on the other side of the bowl. Now you've just watched me turn the outside of this bowl. Still haven't got that divot out there yet, so it's still got to go a fair ways. But I need to turn this around on the truck, because not necessarily will this be the same centre as that we're holding between the two centres here now, if that makes sense. Sometimes when you cut the foot, when the truck grabs a hold of that, it should be exactly as it spins right now, nice and smooth, but sometimes it can be off centre. And so to avoid that, before you finish the actual shape that you're after on the bowl, make sure you've got the truck holding the piece. Now it's been turned around and held in the truck, and it's pretty well the same as it was both ways. I still will need to finish off the bowl outside. So I've gone for a fairly wide rim for the modern type look. Going to hollow out the inside of the bowl following the contour of the outside of the bowl. And it's going to be a fairly flat bottom here. So I'm going to use the the 5/8 bowl gouge all the way to where I can go to a 1/2 inch and get it very nice and smooth. But the grain is very, very nice. Cherry always does present a nice face when you treat it well. So onwards. Now I've just sharpened the bowl gouge. If you treat Cherry nicely, she treats back. This is a very nice looking grain. So I'm trying to get the rim here to be contoured from the outside to the inside. Just using my thumb and forefinger just to feel its way, really. I could use the calipers, but it's not as accurate as the feel. So I've left most of this meat at the bottom of the bowl here to support the rim. We don't want any vibration going on here. I mean, it's not that thin, but yeah, just keep the meat there till the last point. Onwards. It's all hollowed out, and use the scrapers to take some of these tool marks out. Going to start the sanding around 120 grit, go through to 400, and then we'll apply some finish. Okay, so we've got the Acks abrasive paste and the Acks polish on this surface, and it's come up quite nice, but I'm going to put in some Mylands friction polish on top of that as well. So once I've done that, I'll turn the bowl around. As you see, the bowl's turned round and I've got it mounted on the vacuum chuck. That's the noise you can hear in the background. Now, the problem here is that the bottom of the bowl is quite deep, and I would want to leave as much as I possibly can of the foot. So I'm going to remodel the bottom here and the foot to have the bowl stand up in probably a mirror image of what I've done on the top of the bowl to what I'm going to do on the bottom. Not really sure what I'm going to do at the moment. Just follow me. this is a finished project. It's now around about 8 inches diameter and 2.5 inches in its depth. Now, it went for the modern look, and I think I pretty well achieved that. We've got a nice 1/2 inch rim on there. The walls are less than 3/16 of an inch towards the bottom, around about 1/4 inch towards the top. The bottom was around about, I thought, 1/4 inches, but evidently I was wrong, and the tip of that Forstner bit just poked through. So that's kind of ruined the whole project in terms of selling it, but it's still a nice bowl, which I'll probably give away to some family members. They would gladly have that. The bottom of the bowl there has been turned so that it seats on this piece here. I was going for getting the thicker part of the bottom, but that failed, as the Forstner bit was forced by me to the bottom there, so it's kind of ruined that part. But I've got to say, the grain on this piece of cherry turned out to be exceptionally beautiful. You can see here, as I turn it around on the edge, and certainly on the inside, it came out a treat. Anyway guys, there it is. Next week. Cheers.